Though it might look easy to do, enjoying the RV lifestyle is quite a challenge sometimes, whether it's maintenance, finding a good pace for your schedule, or finding an in-network doctor to service you in whatever area you're in. All the little details can add up and even wear out the most seasoned, happy-go-lucky camper out there. But through 18 months of traveling, we've come up with our own little recipe to enjoying this lifestyle as much as we can. And today we're going to share them with you to help keep you going out there on the road. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Trey, and me and my fiance have been living in this RV for the past year and a half. We've been to 15 states and we visited 13 national parks. We both work on the road full-time, enjoying hiking, exploring new towns, and we picked up a new hobby here recently, and we're still trying to figure out a way how to keep the mountain bike on the trail and get good at it. Last weekend, we arrived at this beautiful campground here in Swan Valley, Idaho, which is only about 40 minutes away from the Grand Tetons. We actually had planned on going into Jackson this weekend and exploring around a bit, but Jess had all of her wisdom teeth, all 4 of them, removed last weekend, and the surgery is still giving her a bit of pain. This weekend we decided, hey, let's just take it easy. We've been on the road for the past month and a half non-stop, traveling and exploring, and we're gonna be here for a month in the Tetons, so let's just take a week and relax. So with our experience on the road, or talking to other full-timers or people who RV majority of the year, for the most part, people love this lifestyle, at least from what I can gather. But there is this subtle tone that RVing for extended periods of time can be a downer sometimes. You know, it's either missing family or the constant repairs. There's always this physical battle or there's a mental battle to be fought, which is a really weird thing to say, right? Because can living the nomadic lifestyle be anything other than therapeutic from the daily grind? While some people wouldn't touch this lifestyle with a 10-foot pole, others consider it to be the most freeing thing they've ever done. And that's honestly the way I like to see it. But over time, Jess and I have had some moments that aren't so glamorous or share-worthy. And I think it's important for anyone planning to do this or in the middle of their adventures, recognize that not having a home base is just as much work as having a home base and all the chores associated with it. But the good news is, with the tips I'm about to share with you, if you can keep them in mind in your travels, it will help you enjoy calling the road your home. And disclaimer, some of it may be raw, unfiltered thoughts, but it's the truth I wish I had known and was told when we first got started. And tip number 1, this one is a tangible, physical, tactical tip. Stay on top of your maintenance. Whether you're a fifth wheel, a teardrop, a pull behind, a van lifer, or you sexy Airstreamers out there, it does not matter. Staying on top of your maintenance, like oil changes, tires, and brakes, can and will reduce the amount of anxiety you have around breaking down in the middle of nowhere. Now that being said, can you break down in the middle of nowhere even with good maintenance? Absolutely, but that's just the life we signed up for, living an alternate lifestyle. Keeping up with maintenance is definitely not fun. There are times Jess and I have to stay close to town. We're in an inconvenient spot just to keep up with all of this. But that's what you gotta do when it's your literal home. Tip number 2, and we're gonna touch some feelings with this one. Check in on friends and family frequently. Because we do have to address the whole social aspect of this whole thing. Because Jess and I, we do get to talk to people while we're out on the road, but the people we left back home care about us too. Jessica is much better than I in this category, but for me, I used to be the type of guy who would think I'm connecting with somebody just by thinking about them. Like, oh yeah, bro, I was thinking about you the other day when we haven't connected in months. Also, I used to be the guy who would like somebody's Instagram story or a Facebook post and call it socializing. Yep. That used to be me. Our first year on the road went really well, but when we returned home for the holidays, I was shocked to know how much changed with everyone. In my mind, everything was still the same as when we left, because I had mentally put everybody in a time capsule, and when we got back, I realized I was the only one in a time capsule, because life moved on, and things moved on in weird ways I didn't know, realize, or expect. And that was enough for me to wake up and realize I need to be checking in with friends and family more often. Nobody's gonna wait around for me to get done with my travels and return back home. Friends are getting married, having kids, getting promoted at their work, just simply going through the stages of life. It started to give me this sense of FOMO and quite honestly made me doubt the whole full-time RVing thing. Like I was missing out on developing relationships with my friends that I already had, or developing relationships with new colleagues at my old career. If you browse anybody who's a van lifer or an RVer, they're likely to have a video or two on this exact same issue, because we all share the same struggle. Right? We all want to live on the road and see family at the same time. Missing home can seriously affect your quality of time out on the road. You can be in your favorite national park ever, but if you're missing friends and family back home, that national park will lose its charm very quickly. So you might be wondering, Trey, are you working on this, or is there a way to kind of resolve this? While nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, will ever replace quality time spent face-to-face with friends and family, there are a few changes that I am making. The first step for me was to reach out to my friends and family at least once or every other week and call my parents and bomb one of Jess's FaceTime calls. And the second step is to start sending postcards back home to our family, which is so much fun. Just finding these little unique postcards, writing a little message on them, tell them we love them, and send them on its way. Also, let me know if there's any other creative way you found to stay in touch with friends and family, because I would love to find another way to surprise them with little things. Moving on to tip number 3, and that is choose your campgrounds wisely, which is an area Jess and I was just talking about the other day, which is how much a campground can affect the quality or the enjoyment of wherever you're staying at.
Ha, got it.
We are here at the park at Swan Valley, which is a beautiful campground, spacious between sites, and even has this old runway, which literally used to be an old private airstrip for your dogs just to go run. Now, there are other campgrounds here in Swan Valley to choose from that have sites that are a little closer and not as much freedom per se as this one would offer. And we know for a fact if we went with one of those, it would affect our stay here, if that makes sense, in the Grand Tetons. It would affect the experience that you would have, especially since the majority of our time during the week is spent here at the campground. But I'm not saying stay at resorts or fancy campgrounds only, but I am saying wherever you stay, it will affect your experience just ever so slightly. For example, last year we were Thousand Trails members, and while some campgrounds were good and okay, the vast majority of their campgrounds was very limiting to where we could stay and left a ton to be desired as far as the amenities. This year, Jess and I said we would never spend another dollar on a campground we weren't completely satisfied with. And for the most part, we've succeeded. Now, will we sacrifice if it's just an overnight stay and we can save a few bucks? Absolutely. But if it's for a month-long stay, we're gonna see and search around for the most bang for the buck we can get. The campgrounds Jess and I find ourselves gravitating towards nowadays are the newer ones. They've only been around like 3 to 5 years. And typically, these are former full-time RVers like the one I'm at now, who have fixed all the gripes we share as an RV community, like cramped campground sites that are only bumper to bumper, or only water and electric only with no sewage. And some of the newer campgrounds we've been to have valet trash and valet propane, which is super nice. Thank you guys. Whereas others barely had running water, wouldn't let you keep your dog on a leash, and would charge you for electricity. All that to say, your campground is just your base. It's not the end all be all, because we aren't here to just sit at a campground for a month. We're here to explore, but it can shape your experience. So those are the 3 tips I have to help you enjoy the RV life. But I do have one bonus tip, and this one comes from Jess herself. She sends her regards, and I asked her, I was like, hey, what do you have that could help these guys out, enjoy the RV life a little bit more? And I was like, do you have anything? She said, I absolutely do. And here's the one thing she wants to give to you guys, and that is to pace yourselves. Last year, our average stay was 2 weeks at a time, which was great at first. You got to see so many different places, new to us, so fast. But midway through the year, actually this time last year, we started to experience travel fatigue, and some of you guys may know what I'm talking about. This longing to just slow down and smell the roses for a second longer. Listen, everybody has their own pace. Everybody's going to move a little differently. But if you ever start feeling fatigued, or you just aren't enjoying places as much as you wish you could, take that as a sign to slow down. There's an entire niche community about slow travel, and I feel Jess and I are headed that way, but we still do like to move at least once a month. That is usually when the itch to move on is greater than the desire to stay and explore one last weekend. And it's great, honestly, because when we up and leave a place like Yosemite and we spend a few months away from it, we usually start to have this itch to start planning our next trip out the following year. Plus, there are some super cool places out there, and it's just awesome to be able to spend a season in one area. We've been really wanting to spend a summer in Colorado because, spoiler alert, that is on the list of destinations where we might want to put some roots down. Maybe. We'll see. Keeping on top of the maintenance, keeping up with your friends and family, choosing campgrounds wisely, and pacing yourself is the advice I would give anyone if they asked me how to make the RV life more enjoyable. There are some topics here that do fall in the cracks, like doctor and dental visits, receiving mail, and even working from home. But we can talk about those on a different day if you want to. This nomadic lifestyle can be as enjoyable or as big of a headache as you choose to make it, but with these tips, I'm hoping that it can make your ride a little smoother and make you more at peace and enjoy the moment wherever your wheels stop. If you found some value here and you love exploring the outdoors vicariously through YouTube videos, feel free to give a subscribe to the channel and a thumbs up to this video, and we will see you next week in the Grand Tetons. Peace and much love.